Okay, regular session is officially over. We are now in the post-market. Welcome to another earnings stream, Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Today we got Tesla and IBM are the two that I'm going to be covering. And let's just take a quick look at some of the other stocks that are reporting. Tesla is supposed to report at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. So we got about 15 minutes for them. Forecast EPS 0.52, forecast revenue 26.2 billion. Their anchored VWAP just above like 375 a share. They're trading well above that today. Tesla closed the regular session at $438.93. Just take a quick look at the daily chart here. Tesla's price has kind of been all over the place. Let's zoom out a little bit on the weekly chart. Okay, so all-time high on the weekly chart is 488.54. We got resistance back here from a few weeks ago, around 470. So I would expect if Tesla makes a positive move, it's got to deal with that level. Put a horizontal line around there, right there. And I'll probably call the next resistance like 490. It's like 470 and then 490 if it gets a positive reaction. If it gets a negative reaction, probably going to be looking at around 410 for support, around there. And if it can't hold 410, next support down, probably around 395. So I'll mark a line there. I got some levels on the bigger time frame mapped out, depending on whether it gets a positive reaction or a negative reaction. Let's go back intraday. Okay. I'm showing they don't report till 4:15, but maybe that's a typo. So it's getting some buying right now. It's up like half of a percent in after hours right now. Let me go back here for a second. IBM is supposed to report at 4:10 p.m. Their anchored VWAP just above 260 a share. They're trading pretty good above that. Forecast EPS $2.44. Forecast revenue for IBM $16 billion. Some of the other companies that are reporting, we got QuantumScape, Kinder Morgan, AA. I've been trading AA. I've been doing spreads on those, on that stock. Looking forward to seeing what their reaction is. O'Reilly Automotive, Lending Club, Las Vegas Sands, United Rentals. Got quite a few today. Raymond James Financial, Churchill Downs. But everyone's here for Tesla. And probably maybe IBM. Let me go to Webull 5-minute chart just real quick. So there is some volatility on Tesla right now. We'll go 1-minute chart. So they initially, well, they closed at the regular session at 438.97. They came up to 443. Now they're coming back down a little bit. Just give this a second. I think the data might be out. I don't think we got to wait anymore on this. So let me see if I can get EPS, revenue, any guidance. Now again, on the bigger time frame, I'll go back to TradingView just for a second. Bigger time frame. If it gets a negative reaction, I'll be watching around 410. Maybe a little bit above there. Maybe 415 might have been support back here. So let's see what ends up happening here. So far it's a negative reaction. Not looking good for the Tesla bulls, but let's wait for the price to settle down a little bit. So I think the data's out based on the price action. Let's take a look. Yeah, the data's out right here. All right, let's take a look. All right, they missed EPS. Forecast EPS was 0.56. They just reported 0.50. Let's see. Yeah, Tammy on Discord over here. Yeah, revenue up, EPS down. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Here, I got a little graphic right here. So they missed EPS. Revenue, they beat by a little bit. EPS is down 31% year over year. Let me see if I can find some more information for everybody. Okay. Give me 1 second. Oh, God, on X. Jim Cramer is very bullish about the future of Tesla. Okay. I'm going to go to their investor relations page and see if I can get some solid data for everybody. Then we'll find out when their earnings call is and how to get there. Okay, let's take a look. All right, investor relations. So here's the Q3 financial results and the Q&A webcast. Let me post this link in the comments. I'll put it on the bottom of my screen too. There we go. That link right there will take you to their investor relations page where you can see the financials, financial documents, things of that nature. And then the actual earnings web call. There's a little countdown right here. Oops, you can't see it on my screen. Let me see if I can, let me move this out the way just for a second. There it is. All right, 1 hour, 23 minutes. So it looks like they're probably doing it at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Almost an hour and a half. So we won't hear from the higher ups in Tesla until 5:30 p.m. But until then, let me see. I want to look at a few other things real quick. Hold on 1 second. Investor relations. Okay. All right. So when you go to the Tesla Investor Relations, if you right here is the home page. You see right here, download deck. All right. So when you click on that, then it's going to pull up the Q3 results that you could take a deeper dive into that. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, there we go. And it's a 29-page document. So you got highlights, financial summary, operational summary, and all kinds of stuff here. So let me see. I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen here, but it's this summary. Yeah, we got some. What's up, Blue Brain? Good to see you. IBM. It looks like their data's out as well. It was a bit volatile. So I got IBM on the right here. They closed the regular session at $288.08 a share. They wicked up just now to almost 300, and then they came back down, and they're selling pressure right now. So let me see if I can get the IBM data real quick. And then I want to see if there's any commentary for Tesla from Elon. See if he released any commentary before they're going to do the earnings call at 5:30. But let me, they did have a nice beat on free cash flow. It's up 46% year over year. So that's good. Tesla kind of bounced back too. So big beat on free cash flow for Tesla. Let me post the EPS and revenue here. Okay. There we go. All right, so they missed EPS, they beat revenue, but they also had a nice beat on free cash flow. Free cash flow, the estimate for free cash flow was only 1.25 billion, and they just reported almost 4 billion in free cash flow. Huge beat on Tesla free cash flow. And they did beat the margin estimates as well. The estimate for the margin was 17%, and they reported 18%. Operating income for Tesla came in line. But that seems to be the big line item for the Tesla earnings, is the huge beat on the free cash flow. Again, that was only expected to be a little over $1 billion, and they reported almost $4 billion in free cash flow. Let's go to IBM real quick. So I know there's some longtime investors for IBM. And again, Tesla's earnings web call is at 5:30 p.m. All right, so we got a little over an hour before then. Let's see, Rabbit on Discord. You went in and bought Tesla last minute. All right, well, you might be all right. It's a little red in after hours. I mean, it had a nasty little dip there down to 428. It's about $10 a share from where it closed the regular session, but it's bounced back. It's trading just below where it closed the regular session, so it's not looking bad for the bulls. Just wait for the price to marinate a little bit. IBM, getting some selling on IBM. IBM quarter-over-quarter numbers were not too good. EPS was down 5% quarter-over-quarter. And revenue was down 4% quarter-over-quarter. So IBM, as far as like a shorter-term looking view, EPS and revenue both down quarter-over-quarter. They did double beat, though, the forecast for the quarter. EPS came in at 265 versus the estimate of 245, so they beat EPS by 8%. This is for IBM. Revenue forecast was 16.10 billion. They reported 16.33 billion. So double beat for IBM. Again, though, the quarter-over-quarter numbers are red across the board. So short-term looking, a little bit of a pullback maybe. Here's some more information on IBM. Looks like they raised the guidance a little bit. They do pay a dividend, $1.68 per share. You need to be owner of record of IBM by November 10th. That's the ex-div date. And then you'll be eligible for the dividend, and they actually pay out the dividend on December 10th. Okay, let's take a look at a few other things real quick. Let's find out when IBM's earnings call is. I know everyone wants to know that. Tesla's still kind of holding up. It's slightly red, but there was some selling pressure, and it's kind of came back up a little bit. So now just kind of hanging in there, sitting. Again, earnings web call not for an hour and 15 minutes. So maybe investors are waiting for more clarification from the higher ups. Let's take a look. So I'm going to post a link in the comments for IBM's, the link to get to their earnings web call. I'll leave it up there for a few minutes. And let's take a look here. IBM. Okay. Here's the webcast link right here. And their earnings web call is at 5 p.m. Eastern. So about 45 more minutes for IBM. So I'll just see if I can find some data that might be interesting for everyone while we're waiting. I'm going to go to IBM's news and events. Okay. Events and presentation. I just want to confirm that web call again. Yeah, I'm showing 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern for IBM. All right, let's go back here. All right, so you got, yeah, so whoever was asking on YouTube, that you got a little bit of time before the earnings web call, about 45 minutes. But yeah, IBM's quarter-over-quarter numbers don't look good at all, right across the board. It looks like I do got some commentary from the CEO, and is that the CFO? The CEO says, well, it's the chairman and president and chief executive officer, Arvind Krishna. He said, this quarter, we accelerated performance across all of our segments, and again, exceeding exceeded expectations for revenue, profit, and free cash flow. Clients globally continue to leverage our technology and domain expertise to drive productivity in their operations and deliver real business value with AI. Our AI book of business now stands at more than $9.5 billion. Given the strength of our business, we are raising our full year outlook for revenue growth and free cash flow. So they raised guidance too. But investors aren't really liking these quarter over quarter. It's like more of a short-term view. We're seeing a little bit of selling here. Could be a short-term pullback though. I go to IBM. So IBM closed the regular session at $287.51. They're sitting here in after hours at 275.75. Trying to find the bottom around 270. Here's a little bit more commentary from the CFO. And let me put Tesla's earnings back on the bottom of my screen just for EPS and revenue so people can quickly see that. So the CFO, his name's James Kavanaugh. He says, this is for IBM, new innovation, the strength and diversity of our portfolio and our disciplined execution led to acceleration in revenue growth and profit in the quarter. Consistent focus on the fundamentals of our business delivered double-digit growth and drove another quarter of strong free cash flow, the fuel for our investments and ability to return value to shareholders. So a couple statements from the CEO and the CFO before they do their earnings web call. And again, IBM's at 5 p.m. Eastern. I put the link in the comments. It's a short link, so it's not hard to get there. IBM did deliver 9% revenue growth in the EPS beat and guiding up across the board, but there's still a little bit of selling going on. I'm trying to see where the red flag is. The red flag that I'm seeing is the quarter over quarter numbers. I just think investors thought on a shorter term view that maybe they would have done better on that. So quarter over quarter showing some cooling for IBM. So that's what you want to keep your eyes on. And I think that's why it's pulling back a little bit right now. But other than that, I mean, they beat EPS, they beat revenue, they guided up. It's just that short-term view on the quarter over quarter numbers. Investors aren't liking that, and we're getting a little bit of selling. That's why I think this probably just be a short-term pullback, maybe looked at as a discount on where the stock was trading at today. Mad Maverick on Discord. Too much whiplash between Trump and Putin. There's whiplash all over the place. Okay. Also, Besant says incoming Russia sanctions to be among the biggest. Just a tip says, let's go Tessie. Elon talk and pump. Yeah, Elon's going to address everything at their earnings web call for Tesla. Again, Tesla's earnings web call at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So you got a little bit of time for them before we hear from them as well. I'll put the link for Tesla's earnings web call back up as well. There it is right there. All right, let me look at a few other things real quick. Almost 4:20 p.m. Okay, so a couple of notes about Tesla. I got this data from my buddy, Shai Balor on X. Excellent investor. Give him a follow. You won't regret it. He says Tesla just confirmed they're now building advanced AI chips in the US with Samsung and expanded their in-house training stack to 81,000. That's Tesla quietly turning into one of the largest AI compute owners on the planet. And here's just like a little snippet of what I was talking about. So these efforts help refine their robo-taxi service by providing valuable real-world data that will allow us to quickly scale to other cities in the future with our universal model. We announced a deal to manufacture advanced semiconductors for AI inference and training in the US with Samsung. That sounds like a pretty big deal for them. Again, not seeing it reflect in the stock price yet. But again, huge beat on free cash flow for Tesla. It's up 46% year over year. So it looks good. And also, this is Tesla's highest revenue quarter ever. So they're breaking records. And again, Tesla did beat margin. So I think investors are just waiting for the earnings web call. It's at 5:30, so we're just gonna have to be patient and wait for that. Let's look at a few other things on IBM real quick. Oh, there's a lot of IBM investors out there. Go back here. Okay, so IBM did get an initial. Well, initially it was a bit volatile, came up to almost $300, but overall, the initial reaction was negative. Now it's trying to find the bottom. It's trying to bottom out in the low 270s. Could be a good deal on that stock. And again, most of the red line items I'm seeing for IBM, it's the quarter over quarter. Year over year growth's good, but it's just showing signs of some short-term cooling. Investors aren't liking that too much. And we already went over some commentary for IBM. You know, the couple statements that the CEO and CFO put out. They usually put out a couple statements when the earnings data drops. Just kind of leading into the earnings web call where they dive deeper into everything. Let's see. Yeah, after hours price action doesn't make a lot of sense on IBM. I agree. I do. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. It's the quarter over quarter numbers for IBM that's getting a short-term pullback right now. But free cash flow for Tesla and IBM, they both companies did a great job with that. Yeah, I agree. Daniel Newman on X. Companies like IBM, it's a signal that AI isn't just chat GPT. It's a lot bigger than that. IBM's free cash flow, $14 billion. AI book of business, $9.5 billion. And again, IBM reaffirmed and declared the quarterly dividend of $1.68 per share. Okay, let me just go back over here. Yeah, and when you think about IBM, you always think of calculators. Every time I hear Texas Instruments, that's all I think about is calculators. Yen on YouTube said, you're in late. We buying calls or puts? Well, we can't trade options in after hours, so it'd have to be stock if you're trying to trade this. Not financial advice, but you know, it's trying to bottom out in the low 270s, so that could be a good area of value down there. If this starts reversing, you could make some money. Let me look at a few other things real quick. Okay. CEO of IBM. This quarter, we accelerated performance across all of our segments and again exceeded expectations for revenue, profit, and free cash flow. Well, that's all fine and dandy. You're not talking about quarter over quarter numbers because that's what the investors are seeing right now. I'm going to post this from Unusual Whales real quick. Just basically the IBM EPS and revenue. There we go. I'll leave that on my screen for a little bit. Let me go back to Webull just real quick. I know there's a lot of people have been having trouble with Webull today with the options chain. I was live trading with the lifetime members in the Discord a little after lunchtime today. We had 2 successful scalp trades to the downside. And then the premiums on the option chain started acting really funny. It's just real weird. Sometimes you'd see the bid was higher than the ask, and we just saw a lot of foolery going on with the premiums on the options chain. Turn around for 1 second and then look back, and then some of the contracts, for example, on some of the SPY contracts, like one of the put options I was looking at was trading at like $167, 1.67 on the bid, but the ask was at 0. And then like every other strike price, there was some Just some real sketchy stuff going on the options chain. So after my 2 successful scalp trades, I decided just to hang my hat up and be a spectator until they can get the data issues figured out. This is what Webull posted earlier. They said, due to a third-party service disruption, some options quote data may be delayed or reflecting inaccurately. Yeah, that's exactly what we were seeing. They say our teams are aware and actively working to restore full functionality. So they're aware of the issue, but just be careful trading. I wasn't having too much trouble on Fidelity. I did see a couple things on Fidelity that were a little sketch, but it was mainly like on Webull and Robinhood was like the feedback I was getting from some of the members. So one person entered a trade and it wasn't even showing up on their positions, and then they had to go track down the contract and kind of get rid of it through the back door. And just a lot of crazy things were going on today. And I think it's just kind of running off the heels of the AWS outage that a lot of companies experienced. So I think there's still some bugs they're working out with that. And for those that don't know what the AWS is, it's owned by Amazon, but it's the Amazon Web Services, and it's cloud computing, right? And a lot of companies use AWS. So you got a problem with AWS. I mean, I was even, when I first, this was when we had the AWS issues earlier in the week. And not only, it wasn't just isolated to brokers and trading with the trade tickets and the options chains. I was trying to order something off Amazon, and some of the products weren't loading. And so it's not just trading. The AWS affected a bunch of companies, even outside of the trading world. It just goes to show, like, one little, the AWS goes down and there's going to be issues with tons of online services. We experienced that firsthand. And today we were also having issues with some of the data trying to populate into the options chain and stuff like that. Just really dangerous to trade in. Tesla's still selling off a bit here. Investors getting a little skittish, waiting on that earnings web call, which again is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So one more hour. You got to wait before Elon starts talking. Yeah, Nuclearite. Hey, it's good to see you, Nuclearite, by the way. Amazon is the current definition of too high to fail. Yeah, I mean, they're just too big to fail. Yeah, I mean, they're just a monster powerhouse of a company, that's for sure. They're not going anywhere. But lots of crazy price action today. We went over most of the IBM info, the operations EPS. The forecast on that was 2.41. They reported 2.65. Nice beat on that. They beat revenue. Consulting revenue was a beat. Free cash flow was beat. Lots of beats across the board for IBM. Again, except for the quarter over quarter is where I'm seeing most of the red at. So on a short-term look, yes, it's showing signs of short-term cooling. That's definitely what the data is saying. And, investors are responding to that right now, and there's a bit of selling going on. In the long run, I think IBM would be just fine. Solid positive net income, $1.7 billion. And they raised the full year outlook. So I just think any pullback we're seeing on IBM is probably going to be short-lived. Let me go back to TradingView. I want to look at the weekly chart here. So IBM, of course, trading around all-time highs. All-time high on weekly chart, according to TradingView, $301.04. Trading at 271.60 here in post-market. We go daily chart. Okay, so it's kind of already fell, the low 270s is the support. It needs to recover that level quickly, or this is probably coming down a bit more, possibly to mid 250s. If 270 doesn't hold, I'd be looking to scoop this up around 255 personally. Zoom out a bit more. You can see a lot of volume came in around the 250s. You can clearly see it on the volume profile here on the right of my screen. This blue line right here, that's where it's trading at right now in the post market. This green line up here, that's where it closed the regular session. Okay. So it's down in after hours. Their earnings web calls at 5 p.m. Eastern, 30 more minutes. But yeah, if for some reason 270, and again, a lot of this selling is coming from the quarter over quarter numbers that were read across the board. I think it's, it's going to be short lived. No one knows when the bottom's going to come in. But if I were to guess, and there is continuation on the selling side, I'd love to scoop up some IBM in the 250s. That would be a sweet deal, I think. This is price action dating back to when that 20% market-wide correction happened and finished at the end of April. Then most stocks went on the rally from there. So this is price action since April, and the the 250s. Lots of volume came in around there. That would be an area of interest and an area of value for me personally. Trading just above 270, trying to hold that 270 level. Again, 30 more minutes before the earnings web call. So there may be a secondary move when they do the web call. We see that many, many times. Same thing with Tesla. Tesla's earnings web call isn't until 5 p.m. Eastern, right? Let me double check. No, theirs is at 5:30. Excuse me. I got a little countdown right here. Here, let me hide that. There we go. 57 more minutes, and then and so it's Tesla's at 5:30. IBM's at 5. Let me check the Discord real quick. Yeah, Timmy. Yeah. Tesla, yeah, not looking good right now. It's okay. It just made a new after hours low, so now it's in the 420s. This thing closed right below 440. Now it's trading just below 430, around 428 and some change. So bottom not in for Tesla yet. IBM's bottom, which was around 270, that was the level we were looking at on the bigger time frame on IBM, and it's just holding up just above there now. I'd really like to see 270 hold on IBM. If not, could be like a little magnet into the mid 250s. We'll see. Okay, a little bit of buying just came in on Tesla. This is a 1 minute candle though, so I'll take it with a grain of salt, but nonetheless, it is green. Nice little wick on the bottom. It was right around 428 and some change. Support level number 1 as far as post-market data for Tesla, around 428. Dave asks, am I bullish or bearish on Tesla? I'm neither. I'm not. I haven't traded Tesla in a while. It's just a bit too volatile for me. You don't know when he's going to get in a little argument with Trump. You don't know. He's just been a little political with his posts online. I do think there is a ton of upside with Tesla in the long term. Maybe that answers your question. Just because of them getting so much more involved with AI and the whole robo-taxi thing. I do believe there's a lot of upside with Tesla. I just personally haven't been trading it lately because of all the volatility. But on a longer term looking view, I would say I'm bullish on Tesla. On a longer term looking view. Shorter term looking view, it's just a bit too volatile for my liking. Most of the people in the Discord know I'm more of a conservative trader. I don't like to trade stocks that are very volatile. And Tesla's definitely one of them that's very volatile. I mean, just look at all these peaks and valleys just in this is probably about 1 year worth of price action. And I mean, this thing's been 200 up to almost 500, back down to 200, then back up to high 400s. I mean, talk about a roller coaster ride. That is Yeah, I don't typically trade stuff like that. But my long-term opinion of Tesla, I am definitely a Tesla bull, long-term. So I hope that answers your question. My buddy Dave over here on Discord. And Dave, did you keep those deep in the money credit spreads that you had on Netflix? Because it looks like that turned into a winning trade for you, brother. Did you get paid on that? Dave still in the chat here? Yeah, he's still here. If you ended up holding them, okay, cool. Yeah, would they expire on Friday? Don't they? You should probably be around max gain. Also, something to realize, Dave, on those credit spreads, your max gain is 100%. That's the most you can make on that. So I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but because when you collect the credit on the onset of the trade, the most you can gain is that credit. So I just want to clarify that, because I've seen people trade credit spreads in the past and they're at like 99% profit, and they think they're going to get like 150% out of it, but they don't understand the most you can get on the credit spreads is 100%. So just something to keep note, that if you still have X amount of time left on expiration and you're basically got max gain, like 99% on the table, I usually just go ahead and pocket that. Why keep holding it for more time when you don't have to? You can take basically the max profit and take all your risk off the table. So just wanted to point that out for you, my brother Dave over here on Discord. If you're close to 100%, that's all you're going to be able to squeeze out of it. So you can't get more than that. So just wanted to point that out for you, man. All right, cool. So yeah, Netflix just kind of fell off a cliff, didn't they? Rabbit said government shutdown affecting the market yet. I mean, I don't really see it. I don't think the government shutdown has affected the market much. I usually just gauge it from the daily chart on SPY, and of course, last week was just a shitstorm of ugly price action last week. I mean, as of last week, I didn't know, we didn't know if the markets were going to start downtrending, and so I was really careful with what I was doing last week when all this price action was happening. But then sure enough, on Monday, we popped back up above my EMAs. You can see the price just rides my EMAs. Anyone curious, I use the 9 and the 21 EMA for just about all my trades. Very simple EMAs. And I do use the EMAs, not the simple moving average. The exponential moving averages react to price a little bit faster. So I like the EMAs. So anyways, last week was just a sloppy mess. So I wasn't personally opening any new long positions last week. When SPY's trading below the EMAs on the daily chart, you got to be careful about opening long positions. I mean, luckily we bounced back up on Monday, but this very well could have started downtrending, and you've been get caught. You don't want to get caught in that. So I waited. I did open up some new positions on Monday. Now that we're back above the EMAs, and yesterday's candle was a doji candle, so basically indecision. And fast forward to today, and yes, we are printing a red daily candle today. It did get pushed down below the EMAs momentarily today, but you can see this nice bottom wick, so buyers were able to push it back up. So I do still think the bulls are still in the clear for the time being, as far as the indexes go. Of course, this is SPY, the ETF that follows the S&P, but got my indexes over here on the right. So S&P was down 0.5%, NASDAQ was down almost 1%, and even the Dow was down 0.7%. VIX was up 4% today. So volatility coming back into the picture. The 10-year yield was down 0.25%. Even the dollar was down a little bit. Anyone who's interested in following the US dollar, is ticker symbol DXY. We call it the Dixie. And that's how you can follow and track the US dollar. And the 10-year yield is, just go to, I look at it on TradingView. The ticker symbol on TradingView is 10Y1. And they put a little exclamation point on there, but this follows the 10-year yield. So anyways, let me go back there. Let me go back to Tesla intraday and see what it's doing. And then also IBM, just a little quick recap here. All right, so IBM still trying to find the bottom. Again, that 270 level from the bigger time frames, it's important. That's where IBM is trying to bottom out right now. If 270 doesn't hold technical analysis wise, I could see this coming back to the 250s, maybe mid to high 250s. I would definitely be interested in taking a nibble on IBM if that happens. If not, I think 270 would be a good support, at least for after hours price action going into tomorrow into pre-market. Keep your eye on 270. Not financial advice, but if you're trying to trade this in after hours with stock using limit orders, I don't like it below 270. That's where my risk would be, just below there. But hey, if this thing starts retracing and reversing back up, it could be a nice little gain on some shares in after hours, make some quick money possibly. But again, me personally, when I trade with limit orders and after hours, I always have my finger on the trigger just in case, because of course you can't just mark it in and mark it out quickly like we do during the regular session. So you just be a little more careful when trading limit orders and after hours, because you really got to be on point when you're trying to enter and exit these things. Sometimes the price can run away from you and things like that. And like I say, you just can't mark it out of it like we can conveniently do during the regular session. So Tesla, it's going to be right around 430 is probably going to be my S1 on here. I mean, it did wick down to 428, so I guess I call it 428. We got 2 wicks here that tapped 428 range. So support level number 1 on Tesla around 428. If that doesn't hold, we plotted these out earlier. I got like right around 410 and then probably 395, but that would probably be worst case for me. But right around 428 a share, basically the bottom wick from today's candle. That'd be my risk on Tesla if I was trading this in after hours with shares and limit orders. I don't like it below 428, because if it loses 428, it's probably going to be like a little magnet down here to 410. So if it loses 428, I personally, not financial advice, but I'd probably just stop out of it, wait for it to come to 410, see if we get a little bounce and some buying pressure, and then you could probably ride it back up a little bit. But yeah, back to the comment about the government shutdown. I personally haven't seen it affect the market at all, really. And I think historically speaking, government shutdowns don't really affect the market much. So hope that answers your question there. That was for Rabbit on Discord. Let me go back intraday on Tesla and see what it's doing. Okay. So again, possible demand for after hours on Tesla around 428. That's the area I'm watching. That's where my risk would be if I'm trying to live trade this or trade it in after hours. IBM support around 270. That's my risk on it there. And anytime I trade in after hours, I always keep my risk pretty tight, because you don't want to fool around in after hours. But with that said, yeah, it looks like we got the reactions, we got the data, we got the EPS and revenue, we got the guidance information. Basically just waiting for the earnings web calls. And again, Tesla's earnings web call is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. IBM's earnings web call is in about 15 minutes at 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's really all I got for today. Got almost 1,000 people tuning in. It's really good to see everyone. If you're looking for a new home, definitely check out the Discord. There's some links in the description. You can even just join the free section, see how you like that, and go from there. I am one of the coaches in the Discord. I go by TheSwingingBull, and in the Discord, my real name is Benjamin. Most people call me Ben. And the type of trading I specialize in is writing contracts. I like to be on the selling side of the opening transaction. So most of my trades are sell to open. That's just the type of trading I prefer. And it has been the most consistent and profitable type of trading over the years for me by far. I do still dabble in naked options. Like I said, I was live trading SPY today with the lifetime members. we hit 2 winning trades back to back, and then the options chain started acting a little funky. And that was kind of, it wasn't just Webull. We were seeing it on other brokers too. So I felt like two scalp trades, 2 winners. I decided to stop live trading, and then I was good with the 2 wins that I got back to back. But yeah, if you've ever been interested in being a contract writer, maybe you don't even know what it is or how to do it, I'm definitely your guy. That's what I teach everyone in the Discord. I also trade a lot of spreads. Spreads have been a little hit or miss lately with the volatility. Just full disclosure. But most of my short options, cash secured puts and covered calls, things like that, still doing great and doing well. I usually have 4 to 6 open trades going at any given time. That's kind of like my pipeline that I have going. And as I'm closing out trades for profit, I'm replacing those with new trades. So I always have a nice pipeline of like 4 to 6 open trades. That way there's always something going on and always something to talk about. There's always some action going on. We do have another coach in the Discord. He goes by Mad Maverick. He specializes in stock trading. So he trades mostly equity. He does trade a lot of options, but his bread and butter is swing trading stock. So maybe that's the type of trading you do. And if that's the case, you want to go see Mad Maverick. Excellent coach. He's been with the group since day one. I've been with the group for about, Nikki, how long have I been here now as a staff member? What, 4 years now? I've been here for a bit. So if you're interested in learning how to write contracts and being an option seller compared to being an option buyer, you want to come see me. And even if you're just interested in trading naked options, I can teach you about that too. But my bread and butter is writing contracts. Or if you're just a stock trader, you don't mess with options and you just trade stock, go see Mad Maverick. He does a lot of day trades as well, but his bread and butter is swing trading stock. But yeah, Dave, that's one of my main strategies is the wheel strategy. So basically selling cash secured puts to get into stock while collecting income while we're doing that. Usually I can get in 3 to 4 rounds of cash secured puts and collect a ton of income before I even own one single share. And I love doing that. And by the time I get assigned shares, I've already built up such a nice cushion that it's just a no stress, no emotion type of trading once you really know what you're doing. But that's what I'm for, and that's what I coach. I coach people to get real good at that. And I just love that way of trading. It's just a beautiful thing. But yeah, other than that, if you're looking for a new home, check the links in the description. My name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Let's just take a quick look at who's reporting earnings tomorrow. And let's see if I can get earnings whispers to load up because I know we got some. Yeah, tomorrow's Intel. Looking forward to seeing their earnings results and their commentary ever since they landed that pretty big deal. And they got a nice boost in stock price from it. Newmont Mining reporting. Ford's the other big one reporting tomorrow. I have been willing Ford. I usually get about 3% return a month on my capital when I wheel Ford, which at the end of the year ends up being over a 30% return on my money, which is just a fantastic return to get on anything, really. You beat the S&P annual average by 3x or more, you're doing great. So just a quick peek at the earnings tomorrow. I'm mainly going to be covering Intel and Ford tomorrow. But just a quick peek at Tesla and IBM before I sign off. So both of them got negative reactions. Bulls, I wouldn't worry too much. Both companies are solid companies. Tesla's more of the volatile one of the two. Longer term looking, I think both companies are great investments, especially if you're dollar cost averaging over time. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these. I think Tesla has a bright future as they get more and more involved in AI and the robo-taxi service. And they're building damn robots. And the future is just, the sky's the limit for Tesla. And IBM, bulls, you're going to be just fine. I think this is going to be just a short-lived pullback. Again, I'd be looking around 270 a share for support, trading around 274 right now. IBM raised full year guidance. The selling that they've got just now in after hours, I think is more attributed to the quarter over quarter numbers were right across the board, but that's more of a shorter term looking view. I think long term, IBM is solid and Tesla solid. And again, Tesla's earnings web call is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So you got about 40 more minutes for their earnings web call. And IBM's earnings web call is in 10 minutes. And I did put the links in the comments for each of those earnings web calls for anyone that wants to go in the comments and go get those links. It'll take you right to it. But yeah, that's really all I got for today. Hope everyone enjoyed. Again, my name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I'll be back again tomorrow for another earnings stream covering Intel and Ford. And if you're looking for a new home and you join the Discord, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. Maybe we can chat for a little bit and there's something I can help you out with right away. You never know. But other than that, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night, and I will see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.